Here's a question for you. Since 2010, who has been India's highest run scorer in the West Indies? I'll give you a hint. It is not Virat Kohli. So, if you've guessed Ajinkya Rahane, give yourselves a pat on the back. You are right. It is Rahane who scored 514 runs at an average of 102.8. And if you talk about remarkable turnarounds in Indian cricket in recent times, this one would be it. Since being left out of the team in February 2022, he went back to the grind of domestic cricket, then impressed one and all with his boundary-hitting transformation in the IPL. He was selected for the World Test Championship final because of his experience, where he was India's best batter with the scores of 89 and 46. Now, he is in the Indian side, which is playing the first test match in the West Indies as the vice captain. He was asked about making a comeback at 35 years of age, and he was slightly upset at that question, though he took it lightly, saying, "Is age mein matlab?" I'm going to put that quote up. You can watch that video as well if you get the time, but he says, "Is age mein matlab, I'm still young, yaar. There's still a lot of cricket in me," he said. I've had a good IPL and domestic season. I've grown in confidence as a batter, but in the past 1.5 years, I've also worked a lot on my fitness. He goes on to add that I have worked on few aspects of my batting. At the moment, I'm enjoying my cricket. I'm not thinking too much about the future. For now, every match is important for me. I'm a natural stroke player, so just my role has changed. I always look to fulfill the role assigned to me, and here also I will look to fulfill the role that Rohit gives me. It is really, ageism, and in cricket, Chetan, cricketers want to avoid it. They don't want to be asked that question. They know they've got a small, short career. And when they're asked that question, of course it is irritating. And I think he took it well in that little clip that's going viral on social media. But it cannot be easy for these players, right? Because they're not asked about their performance. They're asked about, oh, you're 35, you're making a comeback. How does that feel?
Well, it's not going to feel good when you're asked on the age factor and not your performances. I mean, the question should have been about his performances in the WTC final rather than his age, because age is, after all, just another number. And he's immensely fit. He's one of the fittest cricketers, probably the second fittest after Virat Kohli in that Indian side. I think he's done well over the last year or so that he's been out of the Indian team. And let's not forget, it's not the first time a 30-plus cricketer who's coming back to the Indian side. I mean, Saurav Ganguly's case is the most talked about case of, a cricketer going back to domestic cricket, doing well, and then coming back. And we all know what happened in that scenario. So, and of course, the boundaries have been really stretched given the fitness standards nowadays. I mean, you look at MS Dhoni, he's going to be, 43 now? Next year, when he's going to finish playing another season of IPL, hopefully. Sachin Tendulkar played till 40. Look at James Anderson, look at Stuart Broad, what they're doing. So, by those standards, I think, and his own fitness standards, I think Ajinkya Rahane is still very young. The question should have been about performance, really, because he performed well in the WTC, and like he said, he needs to perform every time he goes out to bat, because there's so many question marks regarding his selection, regarding the other senior selections, and also regarding those who are scoring runs in first-class cricket. I mean, someone like Sarfaraz Khan, whether for right or wrong, he was not included in the side. There's always going to be a question mark about him.
Yeah.
Shreyas Iyer, if he was fit, would he have been part of the side? Surya Kumar Yadav, yes, he's probably not the best test batsman or not the best first-class record. I know he scored some big runs in first-class cricket, but also the fact that he's been picked for the last 2 times, the selectors have picked a test side for English condition, in 21 and then again in 22. But he's yet to make his test debut. And he's suddenly vanished from the test radar. So a lot of questions need to be asked about the players who've not been selected and the players who have been selected. So I think what he said about performing every time he goes out to bat, I think that is the most relevant part of it. And that's been his career story, to be honest. That every time he's gone out to bat, he's been under the spotlight. He's been judged by different parameters. We all remember how he was dropped in 2018 in South Africa, which was grossly unfair because he was also the vice captain at that particular time. So kind of payback that he's still the vice captain. He's come back. after one test match, made vice captain again. So, look, I wish him well. I hope it works out for him, however long he plays test cricket. But I think the question is again about the performance and not just his performance.